Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Remember11, The Age of Infinity. Totally didn't screw it up a minute ago and said never 7. So, totally not a second take. Luckily, it was at the beginning if such a thing happened, so it did. But if it did, close at the beginning. So, we're, what is going on? No, Kokoro is in Satoru's body. Keiko was talking about how she's, what'd she say, Hattori? Yeah, Hattori. Yeah, right there. It says she was actually Hattori, which pretty much reinforces the DID thing, that she's multiple personality. And, she was, trying to find her for some reason. No, he wasn't trying to find her. He was just, she was trying to, my gosh, I'm getting confused. Awesome game. She was trying to just explore and wind up coming into this bathroom, which was Keiko slash Hattori. So it's going to be happening here. Hattori was there. Water was gushing from the sink as she stared at the mirror. Her entire body was shivering. Holding her head, she yanked and tore at her own hair. Sounds of Hattori's wild breathing resounded in the bathroom. Glancing at her face became speechless. The expression I saw was full of anguish. Yeah, not the expression she has been having. Her mouth was open as though in a voiceless scream. Also, for whatever reason, I still had it the same way I had it when I was streaming. So I had the screen over there, so hopefully it won't look so weird when I'm like that. So I've got it centered, so hopefully that's a little bit better. Her eyes open wide, she glared at Hattori in the mirror. Put my hand on her shoulder and she shook it out violently. Now here's a question: what if Keiko is going through the exact same thing that Kokoro is going through? Maybe she's not crazy. Maybe she actually is switching bodies somehow. I'd have thought. Maybe that is what's going on. Lost my balance and bumped my head against the sink. The continuous dull pain at the back of my head became sharp as if it had been stabbed there. The water from the sink, which had been on the verge of overflowing before, was now spilling over. I was soaked. But now wasn't time to be bothered about that. Hattori's long black hair had become disheveled as she violently shook her head. Is she deranged? In an asylum? It won't be good if this continues. Hattori began to moan louder and louder. Her voice? Was the Inubishi Keiko personality awakening? If that's so, it'll be dangerous. I looked about my surroundings and searched for a means of escape. Before the murderous monster awakened, it might be better to run away. But Hattori's voice slowly transformed into a scream. A ghastly shriek issued from her mouth. Man. It's useless. I can't get free. Making an immediate decision, I gripped her in a chokehold. In my arms, Hattori's entire body struggled violently. Even so, in spite of all the strength she was exerting, she seemed quite frail. No. It's me who's become stronger. Probably because my body is a man's. And then the strength abruptly left Hattori's body. Looking across the mirror to see what was going on, it appeared that Hattori had lost consciousness. It's a weird thing, weird thing to see. The crap is wood carbuncle. I mean, very strange shirt to have. Wood carbuncle. Or or even wood carbunci. Carbunci? Let's say carbuncle. Kind of like arbuckle, if not Garfield. Possibly because she had heard the commotion, Usumi came running, practically flying into the bathroom. While holding up Hattori in my arms, I explained the situation to Usumi. While muttering that, Usumi held out a hand. Usumi and I both carried Hattori to her bed and laid her down. Saying that, Usumi took something out of her pocket. She presented it to me. They were pills sealed inside of a silver-colored package. There were 2 white pills. That'd mean that these were sleeping pills, wouldn't it? Took the pills from Usumi. Left the bed and went toward the door. Uni was standing beyond the door, which had been left open. Taking sleeping pills from strangers, that's a good idea. Totally not going to be a bad thing happen. Next morning. Huh? Oh. Why am I laying on the floor? Why am I in an empty room? Did they take everything? For whatever reason, every time I think of something like that, I always think of that episode of Family Matters where Carl is sleeping on the couch, and then when he wakes up, he's sleeping on the couch cushions on the floor, and every single thing in the living room has been taken. They stole everything from him. For some reason, it always comes to mind. I don't know why. It's been a long time since I watched Family Matters. My memory is very strange. Surely Uni had gotten curious as well and came to check the state of things. Wonder how long he's been standing there. I was tired and didn't have the energy to explain. Besides, I didn't want to give Uni anything to worry about unnecessarily. Placed my hand on Uni's shoulder and urged him out of the room. Uni obediently followed. Hattori, who was stretched on the bed, appeared to turn over in her sleep as soon as the door shut. I turned to the place which Usumi told me was Yukido-kun's room and led outside. The floor plan of the bathroom was the same as Hattori's. Why did she suddenly become deranged? And then there was her voice. Hattori had let out a scream. Even though she was supposed to have aphasia, her vocal cords were still able to function, is what it means. That she doesn't normally speak is probably due to mental factors, as I thought. Or it might be that Unabushi Keiko had awakened. If that's the case, is it alright if she's not restrained? Is it okay if I just take these sleeping pills to where I won't wake up if somebody goes at my throat? At least, I guess you'll go out peacefully. Isn't it dangerous to feel insecure? Sighed deeply once again. Too many things were happening. In the shelter cabin and in the stream sphere. Don't have time to calm down. Somehow I'm awfully tired. It may be better if I just got some rest like Utsumi told me to. Take out the pills that Utsumi handed to me. I don't take them because it's Utsumi, I don't really know her very well, so I mean, here's a question. Who says that she is the qualified individual here? I don't remember seeing any qualifications showing that she works here. She might be one of the crazy people, for all we know. And she's just doling out medicine. Who says they're sleeping pills? They might be whatever. Viagra? That would be a very awkward thing for Kokoro to take. I don't understand what's going on. Yeah. And also, for the exact same reason I mentioned a minute ago, There's a potential killer on the loose. I mean, well, I guess Keiko did kill. You want to be able to be aware if something happened. You don't want to be like, if something happened, if somebody comes into the room and attacks you, don't want to be like, you want to be like, huh, you know, quick thinking, quick reaction. So I'm not gonna take them. All of that to say, I'm not gonna take them. That's my Let's Plays for you. I decided to take them. It's not so bad that I won't be able to make it without relying on drugs. Being this tired, I should be able to fall asleep right away. I place this package of medicine back into my pocket as it was. If it had been Viagra, I'm actually regretting that not seeing that scene. I'm sure that's not where they were going with it, but it would be hilarious. It got a little colder. Of course, my body was soaked to the skin. In order to try to calm myself down, I decided to take a bath. If I take a while to catch my breath, some breaking mental deadlock might appear. She's gonna take a bath. This will not be awkward at all, I'm certain. I persuade myself of that. It might be carefree, but I wouldn't be able to hold myself together for much longer like this. After giving the bathtub a quick rinse, I quickly fill it with hot water. I sit on the edge of the bathtub and doze off staring at the surface of the water, engulfed in a comfortable steam. I'm attacked by drowsiness. I suddenly heard sounds coming from the room. Maybe Uni had come to visit. I caught into the other room. No response. Poked just my head out of the bathroom and inspected the state of the room. Nobody was there. There wasn't any human presence. Was it just my imagination? Tilted my head and returned my eyes to the bathroom. The water looks warm and full of vitality. Because I've experienced the intense cold of the shelter cabin, the hot water felt incredibly precious. I wonder what Yomogi and Mayuzumi were doing right now. That would mean there would be two unis, though, wouldn't it? Imagine that they were at the shelter cabin, wrapped in blankets, shivering in the cold. It'd be nice if I could take this hot water from my dream into reality. It happened again. Again, I heard a sound. It must just be Uni playing a prank on me. I left the bathroom. There wasn't anybody in the room after all. Maybe he was hiding. There was no reply, and I didn't feel anyone's presence. Just to be certain, I looked anywhere that could be used as a hiding place. I looked into the closet as well. Still, Uni was nowhere to be found. Leaving the room, I even poked my head into the living area. There wasn't anyone in the living area, nor the kitchen. It seemed like everyone had returned to their rooms. The whole place was as silent as the grave. I like how they always say stuff like that. It was as silent as the grave. What pleasant imagery to put out there. In that silence, I started to feel insecure. This entire institution didn't have very much human presence at all. I panicked and turned back to the bathroom. Hot water had already filled about 80% of the tub. Gently put my hand in to test the water. A little hot, but that heat felt nice. My hand continued to splash and stir the water in the bathtub. She's just remembering that. Awesome. I became aware of a fatal error. There's no way I could get into a bath naked when my body is a man's. I remember that scene from before and immediately recalled how cold it had been. And then suddenly, the light in the room went out. Happened so suddenly and I was in a state of confusion trying to figure out what was going on. It was completely dark and I couldn't see a thing. Because of that, I was later noticing the presence of someone who entered the bathroom. I turned to face the direction of the person's presence. Someone's in front of me. Okay. Pure whiteness. Was it steam covering my field of vision? No, it's snow. The entire surface of the world in front of me was concealed in a layer of snow. See, so we're back. Kokoro is back. In her own form. I could feel someone's hand under my armpits. Facing up toward the sky, I could see that my body was being dragged through the snow. Up until just a few moments ago, I had been covered by the warm steam of a hot bath in the bathroom. But now, all of a sudden, I was hit with this gust of chilly air. The cold pierced right through me. My entire body shook from the chill. I couldn't seem to gather up any of my strength. Who? Who's dragging me across the snow? Dragging me out into a place this cold. The person's trying to kill me. Shook myself free from the hands underneath my arms. And just like that, I lost my support and collapsed with my body sprawled across the snow. My lips were shaking and I couldn't even speak properly. They had frozen. That was when Yomogi stood over me and looked down toward me. Had a blank look on his face.
Yomogi-san?
What's Yomogi here? But he didn't pay any attention to my look of confusion and once again stretched his arms toward me. Scrambling to get away from him, I pushed myself up. But my foot couldn't get a proper grip because of the snow. With every step, my feet sunk deeper and deeper into it. Yelled out loud as I glared back at Yomogi. His hands reached out toward me. Slapped those hands away immediately. That's when I noticed this strange and uncomfortable feeling. For some reason, something didn't feel right around my chest. The usual feeling of support wasn't there. I touched my chest lightly. My bra, it's not on properly. It's unhooked. Apparently, Satoru probably did some hands-on investigation of his own, as Kokoro was being a little bit surprised and shocked. I covered my chest with my hands in a panic. An annoyed look appeared on Yomogi's face. He was acting kind of weird. He pointed his chin in the direction behind him. Through the blowing snow, I recognized a faint image of the cabin. It's a shelter cabin. I'm no more than 10 meters away from it. That should be a sphere. The quiet mutter disappeared in the sound of the fierce wind. Pushing my way past Yomogi, I quickly made my way toward the cabin. When I ran inside the cabin, Uni and Mayuzumi were both there. So I really was back. No, instead of saying that I was back, I should say that I had woken up from my dream. Mayuzumi was, as always, wrapped up in a blanket in front of the stove. She clicked her tongue lightly in disdain as she looked at me with suspicion. Uni, too, only looked at me from afar. Shook my head in silence, trying hard to catch my breath once again. The warm air inside the cabin soothed me just a tiny bit. There was no way I could forget the one thing I needed to do. I pulled my hands up my skirt and reached into my shirt to fix my bra in a hurry. Made my way to the stove and held my hands up near it. My hands turned bright red. There was no feeling in my fingertips. I was covered in snow from head to toe. Even my hair was dripping wet. What did he do? Did he make a run for it while he was in her body or something? Not very responsible. Risking death while in somebody else's vehicle, I guess you could say. Brushed the snow off me as I struggled hard to endure this torment. This isn't time to worry about what she just said, since my body felt like it was completely frozen. When she realized I was ignoring her, she got up and moved to another spot. Uni had me a small towel. I accepted it without a word and dried my wet hair. Yomugi had also made it back into the cabin, closing the door behind him. He looked straight at me, his face telling me that he wanted to hear an explanation. But in the end, he didn't say anything. He just stood quietly near the door and brushed the snow off of himself. If I could explain what had just happened, I would. Yeah, I kind of agree with she. See where she's coming from. She should be pretty confused. Because I had absolutely no idea, there wasn't much I could do. Anyway, my body was now returning to normal. My heart and my body had also both returned to being those of Fuyakawa Kokoro. That's all I can be certain of for now. No one said a single word. It seemed like something really strange had happened. There's no mistake about that. But I don't know why everyone was so quiet. I stood beside the stove, puzzled. An uncomfortable silence filled the cabin. Nobody said a thing. Normally Uni would be joking around energetically, but he just glanced at me with a sad look on his face. I didn't direct the question at anyone in particular. Mayuzumi didn't respond. Uni looked down at the floor. Komugi turned toward me and looked at me as if he was looking at a ghost. But soon he groaned in a serious manner. He stood there nodding alone by himself as if he had just figured out something. Yomugi scratched his head as he thought things over. Soon he sat down on the wooden stool and pulled it toward me.
君は今冬川さんなんだね。
は？当たり前じゃないですか。
With hesitation in his voice, Yomugi continued.
有機堂君には説明したんだが、もう一度繰り返した方がいいかな。
有機堂？
I've heard that name before. Name that appeared in my dream.
有機堂悟のこと？
ああ、そうだ。君の中のもう一人の人格。 彼のことだよ。
Yeah, they're definitely heavily hinting that she's the crazy person. That she's the person with DID. Maybe there's multiple people with DID. Or maybe there's nobody with DID. Maybe there's like a scientific explanation or something. Science fiction-y. Pretty curious about it, actually. I had felt dizzy. Unable to stand up any longer, I sat down across from Yomugi. Could he be talking about me suffering from DID again?
君は有機堂君のことは知らないんじゃなかったかな？
ええ、知らない。知らないけど、知ってるの。
A really strange thing to say, and yet that was really the only way I could describe it.
とにかく君はもう察していると思うが、ついさっきまでは彼だったんだよ。DID って知ってるかな？
I knew it. Couldn't help but let out a sigh.
そう。君は墜落のショックから多重人格となってしまったようだ。
Was I dreaming again? Was this shelter cabin a dream too? If that was the case, was the time I spent at Sophia the reality? But I'm a woman. I'm absolutely 100% a woman. And Yukido and Satoru probably made sure to find out for sure while he was there. Perhaps realizing from the look on my face that I was getting angrier and angrier, Yomugi quickly explained.
僕にも信じられないんだが、彼がそういうもんでね。
The person Yomugi was looking at was Uni.
ユニが？
Why would a young boy like him have such expert knowledge about DID? Guess let's take our psychiatric advice from a 12-year-old. Or 11-year-old. 13. How old is he? I can't remember. About that age. It's a silly give or take a few years anyway. So the kid is obviously smart. Does he know something? Looked at him, questioning him with my eyes, but he didn't give me an explanation. be honest, he's probably too smart. So there's probably something up with him. Something up with him. That's a strange way to describe it. There's nothing I could do, so I left him alone. I got the gist of what had happened. I worry about whether I'm really suffering from DID or not. I'll worry later about whether I'm really suffering from DID or not.
どうして私は雪道悟は外に
Yeah, was he trying to make a break or something? You're gonna have to find out about that next time, why he was running away, or why it was trying to make a break for it. Or if that was even the case, I really don't know. It's kind of what I'm thinking, though. I mean, from the way it was at the beginning, the guy had a mission. It sounded pretty dire, his mission. So, being stuck there would be something that he couldn't do that mission with, so... Yeah, we're gonna have to find out exactly what's up with stuff. It won't be next time, it'll be a few episodes on. Be a lot of episodes on when we really figure stuff out, I'm sure, but still liking this game. I expect to continue enjoying it. So I'll see you folks in the next one. I do hope you folks enjoyed, and farewell for now. Got almost there at the end until I screwed it up, didn't I? Later, folks.